Francisco 49ers deep in the heart. Like Joe Montana in the corner, D. Clark. Garrison Hurst, stiff farm going 99. Don't get it twisted, one and all with prime time. John Taylor, Jerry Rice down the side.
Welcome to the 49er Faithful UK Awards Show. I'm Gareth Ellis, and here to help you pick the winners, it's Paul Hope.
Good evening, everybody.
Lee Gowland.
Hi, guys.
And Naji Karar.
Hello, everyone.
So, the awards, much coveted by the players, much enjoyed by the podcasters, and hopefully by the UK faithful. This year, we're going to work it a little bit differently and add a little bit of element of chance and risk into the awards themselves. We've picked 4 candidates for each of the following awards: Defensive Player of the Year, Offensive Player of the Year, Rookie of the Year, could be close, that one, and Team MVP. We will then let the wheel of positivity pick the player, and then each of us will make a case for that player to win the award. Then we'll put a poll on Facebook and on Twitter and let the UK faithful decide who gets that particular award. So, looking forward to it, gents? Paul, looking excited? Raring to go?
Well hard.
Done absolutely no preparation whatsoever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Most awards are meticulously prepared, so we like to be different.
The only thing, Gareth, is you didn't lead in with the shorter version of what the show is called. Because as I said on the Tuesdays live, I can't use the acronym because I'll get us kicked off YouTube. So go on, buddy. You have to give it the full title of what tonight is.
The 4FUKAs.
That's the one.
That's the one.
That's the one,
49
indeed.
Faithful UK Awards. That's all it is.
Yeah, there's nothing rude about it.
No.
Lee, looking forward to it?
I am. Yeah, I can't wait.
Good.
I'm hoping I get a dead easy one.
It's all right.
Easy.
I think the first category is all right. All the players, I think it's going to be fairly easy to defend. There's some category on this that's going to be well hard, but yeah.
There we go.
Start nice and easy.
Should we dive straight in? Defensive Player of the Year is going to be up first.
All right, let's see who gets who then.
It's looking like Lee.
And you're going to get...
No surprise, I'm first.
And you're going to get... Oh, that's making me feel sick a little bit. If you're watching on YouTube.
That's going to be all pro Fred. That is
Fred,
an all pro Fred. Yeah, so we kind of missed a trick there with the quarters because you can't quite see it, but it's all pro Fred.
It's all right because the wheel of positivity tells you. So yeah.
So I had my fingers crossed, hoping I was going to get all pro Fred. So why should all pro Fred be MVP? Well, he's arguably had the best season of his career this season.
Defensive Player of the Year.
Defensive Player of the Year. Oh my God, Gareth, you're killing us right now. Okay, fair enough. Defensive Player of the Year. He's arguably had the best season of his career. He's played absolutely lights out all season long. He's getting better as the season's gone on. The thing you can say about All-Pro Fred is every time we've watched the Niners play, especially the last 8 to 10 games, every time there's a defensive player, the first name you generally hear is Fred Warner. He's always there. He's been all over that field. We all know what a leader he is. He's an absolutely fantastic leader. He's well respected in the team. He's well respected throughout the league, which is why we all call him All-Pro Fred, because he is. He's just an absolute consummate professional. He is fantastic. The way he gets his teammates to step up their game. It reminds us of a story oh God, my mind is gone. This is an age thing. Eric Wright. It reminds us of the story that Eric Wright was telling me and David Ellicott when we were crossing in San Francisco. We asked him what it was like to basically be on a team with the likes of Ronnie Lott, Joe Montana and Jerry Rice. And he said, every day you go into practice and you have to step up your game because the guys you're playing with are legends, absolutely legendary players, Hall of Fame type players. So every day he went into practice, he had to elevate his game just to be able to practice on the same field as them. And I think when you see Fred Warner play in the defense, the aura he has around him, I think that has the same effect on some of our defensive players. They see the likes of Nick Bosa, they see the likes of Fred Warner, Eric Armstead, and the other guys start to raise their game because they want to play as well as them. You've seen it from Drake Greenlaw this year. He's upped his game a bit because he's right next to Fred. And Fred does such a good job at leading by example as well. Some of his tackling this year has been absolutely outstanding. Like I said, all of a sudden Fred Warner is right there making the tackle and you think, where's he come from? How did he get there so quick? And he's always in the right place at the right time. For me, Fred Warner, he's got to be in the top 2 for Defensive Player of the Year. For me, because of the seasons he's had, he's my Defensive Player of the Year.
No, because the wheel then.
Thanks, Lee.
Well, maybe it's a little bit because the wheel picked it.
That's fair enough.
Who's going to be up next? Pick a name first. Pick a player.
Do we get to react, or do we just carry on?
Lee's made the case.
That's fair point. Let's go for it then.
The wheel decides.
The wheel does decide.
It looks like it's me.
It's you, Gareth, I think. Yeah, for sure. Confirmation. Remove. And let's go. Widely entertaining, this. Oh, yeah. Mooney
Ward.
Good luck with that one.
Yeah, Mooney Ward.
Thank you.
El Presidente and confident move.
Do you want to take the wheel off? Whilst we talk? It'll look better on YouTube, I think. Nice.
Well, we signed Mooney Ward in the last off season. We've been looking for a lockdown corner. You need a lockdown corner in this league, and we got one. We picked one up for a bargain. A guy who's stayed fit all season. A guy who has maintained a level of performance all season that has set him apart, I think, from pretty much any other cornerback that we've had in the last few years. And one thing I always think is good about a cornerback, if you don't hear their name mentioned that often during a game, it's because they're having a really good game, because the ball isn't coming towards them. And I think Mooney has perhaps suffered by being so good. He's not getting named quite as often as potentially some of the other players on our list. But we've seen some of the success some of the wide receivers have had against us this season, and that's been a contained plan. And I think that's been because we've got a player like Ward who you can stick on to another wide receiver and dictate how well that wide receiver is going to perform. You have to give up a bit of yardage here and there, but we never really gave up big plays. We weren't really getting beaten deep that often. A couple of times Chiefs games, but of course it's the season. We needed a lockdown corner. We've picked one up. It's a guy who's quietly gone about his business with no mess, no fuss, and put in a phenomenal high level performance game after game after game. And I think it's one of the things when I go back and look at the games, he's a guy I'm perhaps going to take a little bit more attention, see how close he is to receivers and see exactly why quarterbacks aren't throwing his way. So he doesn't perhaps get the tackles and he's not perhaps getting the interceptions, but I think that's because he's doing his job at an exceptionally high level. And in amongst some other good candidates, I think Mooney Ward definitely deserves Defensive Player of the Year. That's it.
Very nice.
Yeah, nice one, Gareth.
Changing your mind now, Lee?
No, not changing my mind.
All right, it's me.
Now, G, who are you going to get?
It is me. There's no point removing me.
Money's on Nick Bosa.
Yeah, well, 50-50. It'll be Dre.
Nope, it's Dre.
It'll be Mr. Greenlaw.
Dre Greenlaw. Off you go.
Off I go. Yeah. I mean, I think, Lee said Fred has had his best season with us, but I think Dre has had his best season with us this year by quite a margin. And that has enabled us to not just be a good defense, but be the first overall defense over the entire season. And he took his game to the next level, I think, especially in terms of playmaking. And in terms of changing the game by being at the right place at the right time, nobody else, apart from maybe some honorable mention we'll mention later, did in dips and drab. He did it all season. I think he genuinely won us a couple of games by having major plays. Thinking Seattle, I'm thinking the Chargers game, and it definitely allowed us to go on that run, that unbeaten run. And we were very concerned about his play, and we almost called for his head at the beginning of the season, more as a cap casualty than us wanted to go. And now, even if I revert back, I think that I would never want him to go now. I want him to be a Niners forever, even though it might cost us that we can't pay somebody else and have a better defense, because the energy that he brings to the team and the passion and the player ability is out of this world. And I think it's hard to take away Fred and what he does to the team, but I think it's a tandem, and it reminds me very much of Willis and Bowman. Those two really didn't go without each other, and they were both extremely good. But I think Dre taking a step this year has allowed our defense to skyrocket into what we became, and that's why, to me, he's our defensive player of the year. We expect it from Fred. We expect it from a lockdown corner. We expect it from the next guy on the list, and I think he deserves it, because he really elevated his game to that level to make everybody else around him better. So yeah, that's my case for Dre. Thank you, Mr. Greenlaw. Great season.
Good
and just to prove that this isn't fixed, we'll still do the Wheel of Fortune.
Oh, okay, of course. I should have taken Dre off, though. So who could it be?
I should say, I reckon it might be Paul.
I think it might be Paul. Not sure.
I should have put some money on that one.
Yeah, me too. It is Paul. Well done, Paul. And wait, I need to remove Dre. There you go. Who could it be?
It might be Bosa.
It might be Bosa.
If it gets all the way around the other side, we have to pick somebody random.
It's Bosa. Go on, Paul.
Bosa. Off you go, Paul. Tricky one.
He's prepared.
Look at that.
That is fixed. Give me my money back.
Well, first of all, Gareth, excellent job by you three guys for your candidates. Have to say, this was the one that I was struggling with when I was on the train to work today, thinking Defensive Player of the Year for the 49ers, because we had the best defense in the league. But I'm just going to start off, Gareth. Not only is he the Defensive Player of the NFL, he is hands down the defensive player for the 49ers. I'm not going to regurgitate his stats. You can go back and listen to all the shows. Alex Simpson, I'm looking at you, where we tell you how many sacks he's got, how many tackles he's got. Now, Nadji, me and you feel a sense of pride in this one, because if you go back and listen to our podcasts, we were the ones that were saying, Nick Bosa, we want you to up your game. We want you to bring something else to the table. Now, people may laugh, Gareth, and think, what do you four guys over the pond know? Well, people are clearly listening, because all I'm going to say is Nick Bosa upped his game to a whole other level this year. It was awesome to see whenever we needed a big moment from him, whether that was sacking the quarterback, whether that was helping get a fumble. We all didn't get sick of seeing my boy Nick with his celebration. We were calling for Defensive Player of the Year from like week 7, week 8, and he got better and better. The only criticism that I'll allow you three to have is he didn't break Alden Smith's record. That said, that's a target for next year. And I want to see him smash that. Defensive Player of the Year 2 years in a row. But for me, Gareth, how can you look past Nick Bosa? You go around the league. He had 46 out of the 50 votes for Defensive Player of the Year. He's definitely got my vote. And when we go live with the poll, I will be doing everything in my power to make sure that my boy gets the support he needs. But what can you say, Gareth, about Nick Bosa that we haven't already said all season? He's just been awesome for me. He's been lights out, and I can't wait to see us tie him down to that contract and me rock 97 at the next Leeds meet up, where we're going to get a win. We're going to break the curse, and I'll be wearing 97.
Curse. There's no curse. Stop saying that. Very nice. Very
Great
nice
stuff. Yeah. Thank you, Paul.
So we did have
cases.
some 4 good cases. We did have a 5th one which we really struggled not putting in there when we were doing the discussion.
Jimmy Ward.
No, definitely wasn't. No, that was Huff. We really struggled to put a Huff in, and there was a heated debate. But that's the 4 we chose. So if you don't like it, you know where to go. Just tweet at Paul and tell him he's wrong. But yeah, we did struggle. But we pulled a poll, and tell us if you think those 4 are right or not. That's what we chose. That's what we felt like those 4 guys deserve it. You make your case when you vote on the poll when that comes up.
Wonderful. Offensive Player of the Year is up next.
Oh, yeah,
is the wheel ready?
I forgot the names. No, I forgot the names.
Brandon Ayuk is up first.
Brandon. All right, so I'll just put his...
just BA.
It could be BA. There is BA, after all.
Yep.
Oh.
CMC.
CMC. Just acronyms then, yeah.
BCB.
BCB.
And GK.
Oh, is that what we chose? Okay. Yes, it is.
There was another heated debate about this one.
Mm-hmm. There was indeed. All
right. So if you got all of our names back in the Wheel of Fortune,
I did.
Let's go.
What's
the chances I'm first yet again?
Well, 1 out of 4, really. Oh, I think it's Paul.
Oh, it's Paul.
It is Paul. Back to back, Paul. Who are you gonna get?
Let's have a look.
Brocky.
No.
Ooh, is it? No.
George. I think it's George.
Yeah, I think it's George as well.
It is Josh Gill. Josh Gill.
Paul,
take it away.
Well, hang on. The sound seemed to change there. I don't know whether it was mine. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah.
No.
Stop it.
Well, we saved the best till last for the defensive player, everybody. But today we've gone straight in. The UK faithful, Club 85. What can I say about my boy George Gareth? 60 targets this year, 0 drops. Arguably had the biggest play of the season. And if you don't believe me, my boy Nadji, he called it. He was there. That catch against Dallas has to be possibly up there, play of the year. We have asked on this show for Kittle to be more involved in the passing game. And boy, oh boy, did we get our wish this year. He destroyed the Cardinals. He destroyed Seattle. He was more than just the blocking machine that we've seen. Arguably, there's room for improvement. You're not going to get me saying, Nadji, that he's the real deal all the way. I want some more touchdowns. I want him to take on Travis Kelce. But I thought George had a great season this year. Thoroughly enjoyed watching him. I think his relationship with all 3 quarterbacks was understated. I think Brock had a great chemistry with him, which rookie quarterbacks tend to go to their tight ends. But he's shown us why we love the guy. I'm sure there'll be more 85 shirts purchased. I'm looking forward to the next meetup, the next Club 85 photo. But how can you look past the UK faithful, darling Club 85? And I rest my case there, gentlemen.
Yeah, it's a strong case, though. Can't
fine
argue
case.
that.
That'll be tough to follow.
It will be. All right. I think it's you, Lee.
I think you might be right.
And you're getting the review, and you're getting
CMC.
Not Brock. Oh, it's Brock.
I'm getting Brocky.
Choo choo.
Damn it. I'm annoyed. All right, go on.
Brock Purdy, take it away, Lee.
What could you possibly say about Brock Purdy to help his case for the Offensive Player of the Year? Because when Brock Purdy came in, we all had low expectations of him, and he absolutely blew us out of the water. So, Offensive Player of the Year, you look at where he's come from, what he's had to go up against, the people that's on the team, the people he's replaced. You look at the conditions he's played in, the expectations on him, the stadiums he's gone into. Seattle away. What a test that was for him. We, as I've said, none of us had high hopes because he was Mr. Irrelevant in the draft. And he's come in and he's replaced Jimmy Garoppolo, who was possibly playing at his best level since 2017. And immediately, we all thought, well, this is going to go back. We're not going to get the same sort of play out of Brocky that we got out of Jimmy. But then he started throwing the ball about. And he left us all in awe. So much so, it took us a good 6-7 games to stop telling ourselves that this wasn't real. We would sit and watch these 49er games and think, somebody's having a laugh here. This can't be right. It can't be he's that good. It's got to be the scheme or whatever. But we've all seen Jimmy playing that. We've seen Trey in very limited snaps playing that system. And then we've seen people like CJ Beathard, Nick Mullins. So we know it's not scheme. You have to have skills. And this guy has come up in a high-pressure situation in a team that is heading towards the playoffs but still has some very big games to play. He became the one and only rookie ever to beat Tom Brady. That will never, ever be broken unless Tom Brady decides to come back, which I don't think he will. So that is some stat to have on your record sheet. And he didn't just beat him by a little bit.
Yeah.
We beat the Buccaneers well and truly. So he's marched in, and people keep on saying week in, week out, just wait, the fall is coming. The fall is coming. Did the fall come? No, it didn't. He took us up against divisional rivals, and he showed no fear whatsoever. He took us up against arguably the GOAT, Tom Brady, showed no fear. Walked into Lumen's Field, a most intimidating stadium, showed no fear. In fact, when he walked into Lumen's Field, some of the stuff he did in that first half was absolutely unbelievable. You would never think that was a rookie going in there. He showed balls of steel. He did. Which you can shave with a Manscaped version 4.0. You'll hear more about this in the coming weeks. So then we get to the playoffs, and it's a case of, well, he hasn't really gone up against anybody yet. So we played the Seattle Seahawks for the third time this season and disposed of them. He then goes up against the Dallas Cowboys with arguably one of the better defenses in the league, and he took care of them. And everything he's shown since he came in was absolutely unbelievable. Would we be where we were without him? If Jimmy had gone down and we had Nate Sudfeld, would we have gotten where we were? Would we get into the NFC Championship game? Not a chance. So for me, Brocky, offensive MVP. He changed the projection of our season when we lost Jimmy in week 12. And I think that speaks volumes. All of a sudden, the amount of points that we put up on a per game basis shot through the roof. We were absolutely pasting people week in, week out. That was the Brocky effect. He had the confidence to throw down the field. He had the confidence to make throws that Shanahan hadn't been calling when Jimmy was under centre. Not only did he have the confidence, he also had the ability. He had all-pro rushers running towards him, and he would just scurry away. He would scramble. He would get away from them, and then he'd make throws. And if he couldn't make the throws, he still managed to get rid of the ball with some absolutely crazy footwork on the sideline. This is coming from the 262nd pick in the draft. This is coming from Mr. Irrelevant. This guy played lights out. And for me, he's my offensive player of the year.
Well done, Lee.
Agree.
Tough sell there, but you managed to work your way through it. So Nadji, it's down to 2, and it looks like it's me.
It is you. Who are you gonna get? Looks like BA. Oh, I don't know actually. Yeah, it is BA.
That looks like Brandon Ayuk to me.
It is Brandon Ayuk.
We said it at the beginning of the season. Ayuk would become our number one receiver, and he's delivered on that. He is our number one receiver. I think he's underrated on the NFL level in terms of how consistently good he is. He might not get the yardage figures of some other players, but he's not asked to do those long distance catches that some of the other wide receivers are asked to do. He's asked to consistently catch the ball in difficult and tight situations close to the line of scrimmage. And he does that, and he does it consistently, and he does it over and over again. And then you look at the other element of his game, which is the blocking. We know that Shanahan demands a lot of his receivers, and Ayuk seems to have caught that little bit of a bug maybe from Kittle, where he seems to love the blocking part of the game just as much as he enjoys the receiving part of the game. I think he's a guy who can still get better. I think he's a guy that we can hopefully expect more from in future. Hopefully, it's a guy whose numbers may well improve with a consistent player at quarterback. Not necessarily saying which one it is, but if there's a consistent player in the offense, I think that's got to be good for any player, but particularly a wide receiver. And I think this year he is well worthy of being the offensive player of the year for the 49er faithful. All you've got to do is take his yardage away from our offense and see what we're left with. We've got a lot of contributors, but he got a lot of those hard yards in the middle of the field, as he always does. He's getting a lot of plays that are either the first downs or they're setting us up for short first down. And he's the guy who keeps the chains moving by always being able to make those catches 6-7 yards down the field when you've got big linebackers around you and the game's moving really fast and the ball's coming at you quick in that tiny little window. And Ayuk just seems to make those catches over his head, down by his knees. The guy's becoming a very safe pair of hands. So yeah, offensive player of the year for me, certainly. Najee, who are you left with?
I don't know. Is it me?
I think he needs a moment, Gareth. He hasn't quite recovered, bless him.
From the trauma.
I mean, I'm quite happy, because I have the one and only offensive player of the year, CMC.
Off you go.
Who's the better running back? You are, CMC.
Well, I don't know. That's up for debate. I'm not going to put myself against him. I'm not sure it's a fair fight. I mean, our offense just, changed overnight when Mr. McCaffrey decided to come home to San Francisco, and Jimmy became good because of CMC turning up. And part of me thinks that had he been here maybe a couple of days before, we might have beaten the Chiefs as well on that day. And yeah, what is brought to Carson and scheme as a whole, unlocking basically everybody's skills and engaging a new gear that all those players didn't have, just because he was here. And obviously, it just changed the way defenses had to defend against us, which changed everything. Lee asked if we get to the national championship without Brock. Definitely don't even win 10 games without CMC. And I think we probably struggle even scoring more than 20 points, because that's where we were before he turned up. It just changed our offense, plain simple, day and night. And it started with that unbelievable performance against the Rams, throwing a touchdown, running in for a touchdown, catching a touchdown. What other player in the league has ever done that? It's just him and another one. I can't remember who. It's insane how good he is. It's insane how much he's done. And without looking even otherworldly, he just does his job so well. And every time he has the ball in his hand, he can come up with a play that the only time we had massive smiles on our face when we were up in Leeds in January is that touchdown. That's the kind of thing he can do. All of a sudden, tracking people and running and spinning and managing to score. Probably one of the most incredible run touchdowns I've seen in a long time. And he's been doing it all season. He had a couple of quiet games because people schemed against us, which allowed the other people to be open. And that's why he genuinely unlocked our offense. He helped Brock being the quarterback he went. He helped Kittle getting open more. He helped BA do a lot more things. And yeah, to me, I think there's no doubt that move, that I'm losing my words now. Trade is what I'm looking for. That trade was absolutely massive, and we've been taking stab at doing trades like this, Emmanuel Sanders and etc. And it almost worked. But this one was a home run through and through. One of those pitches just goes out, and you know when the batter hits it, it's gone. And yeah, I mean, I can't really say anything else. I can't wait to see him in the full season, and I reckon he's going to do another 1,000 rushing and another 1,000 receiving. He's going to be probably a pro bowler, definitely another pro, probably an MVP candidate by the end of next season. I can't wait for it. He's amazing. He's our best player on offense, offensive player of the year. Thank you.
Good job, Nancy.
Thank you.
So, should we move straight on with Rookie of the Year? Is the next one, if you would like to.
Rookie of the Year. All right. So I need to put our names back. Talk among yourself as I do that. There you go. And then who we got for rookie? Sorry.
Brock. Something. Purdy.
Yep.
Jordan Mason.
Who else? Perfect. Jordan Mason.
Mason and Drake Jackson. Sadly, Sammy Womack didn't quite make it in. Nor did Danny Gray, the subject of some wild pre-season predictions by myself, Paul, and Nadji. Which is safe to say, Danny didn't actually get close to any of them. I think 6 TDs I said for him. I think Paul said 7.
Oh, wow.
Nadji had a stat about he would have the most yards per catch in the league, I think. Maybe we're just a year early. We could just be getting it a little bit early. So, which one of the 4 of us is up first?
Let's go. Rookie of the Year. This one's tough. If you don't get,
it's me.
Someone. It's you. It is.
Spencer Burford.
Burford or Mason?
No,
Burford.
Is it Burford? Spencer Burford.
It is Burford.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
Spencer Burford, yeah. Go on. O-line is your thing.
Guy.
That's good.
A 4th round draft picked to probably be a bit of a project. A lot of the off season, I think we were all quietly confident, but had a big question mark about the offensive line, particularly the middle part of the offensive line, where we would see a turnover for players. And I think a lot of us were fairly worried at the thought that this 4th round rookie is going to come in and form an important part of the offensive line for the season. And he's come in, and I know he's shared some reps with Brunskill. I think that must be just a conditioning and getting up to the speed of the NFL, because when he has played, he's one of these guys who's playing like he's been in Shanahan's systems for 2 or 3 years now. He seems to have got that trust early on that he knows what his job is and can also execute it to a fairly high level, because there's no way you'd be taking a single snap for the team under Shanahan if you couldn't do that. And he came in and he was starting in the first game. He's I don't have the stats in front of me. Maybe Paul will dig them out and perhaps we'll follow it up later. But I think he's given out an amount of pressures below the league average. You often see him pop up in the run game. He's clearly got that mobility for a big guy. He can get along the line and he can get to where he needs to be and deliver the block he needs to hit to make Shanahan's offense work. And he's a guy who is only going to get better. And I can't wait to see what he does next season. And I think he is genuinely, perhaps certainly in any other year, might be a standout candidate for Rookie of the Year for the performance he's been able to put in over 17 games and the postseason. This year we'll see what the UK faithful decide, but Spencer Burford I genuinely think would be worthy of a Rookie of the Year nomination in any year. So he's done well, and let's hope for an improvement. And we could have another Pro Bowler along there. Maybe a bit early to say, but it's possible. Spencer Burford, Big Spence.
Nicely done. All right.
Oh, it's Lee.
El Presidente.
Yeah, that's for sure. Wrote it down. That's for sure. Written down. All right. Looks like Jordan Mason.
Jordan Mason, Lee. Off you go.
Jordan Mason.
Yeah, Jordan Mason. This is like a bit of a hospital pass. How can I make a case for Jordan Mason to be Rookie of the Year and keep a straight face? I'll be honest. I think it'd be difficult to make any sort of case for Jordan Mason to be Rookie of the Year. I think I'm going to buck trender here and say there's only going to be one winner. Jordan Mason out of the four candidates, is probably the least likely to be Rookie of the Year. But
I don't know.
He beat out. He beat out. It's difficult. It's difficult.
It's getting there.
Yeah.
So think of the Seattle game.
Yeah. So before the Seattle game, he obviously beat out Jermichael Hasty. Jermichael Hasty, we all had big hopes for, especially myself. I thought when he came into the squad, he was going to have a big role. Unfortunately, injuries seemed to derail that because he never had much of a run in the team. And then Jordan Mason turns up. He has a very good camp. Such a good camp, in fact, that I think it made it impossible for us to put him on the practice squad because he'd have been picked off that practice squad straight away. The way he runs, the way he identifies the spaces, the gaps, I think he's going to be a very good player going forward. Obviously, he does have some things that he needs to learn. He needs to be better in pass protection. He needs to be better blocking. And I think that's why he doesn't get the snaps that he should really be getting. But when he does get the ball in his hands and he runs, and as Najee said, the game against Seattle, he did an absolutely fantastic job that night. And if he can continue doing that on a consistent basis, then maybe next year or the year after, we're not actually talking about him in respect of a rookie, because obviously he can't be anyway, but we'd be talking about him in respect of Offensive Player of the Year. He has a long way to go. He's put in some really good performances this season. I'll be honest, I don't think he does deserve Rookie of the Year, but when you have a look and see what he's like, and the fact that we're going to have him for at least the next 3 seasons, then it's quite pleasing to see that, to see a player like Jordan Mason in our backfield.
Well done, Lee.
Tough one. Yeah, nice one. Nicely done. I will say, because I really like Jordan Mason, and I think he's one of the guys that was most excited, got the fan the most excited when he was in the game. Everybody was kind of expecting something to happen when he was here, which is, I think, quite, telling of his play style and stuff. Anyway,
I wonder who Najee wants.
Yeah, I wonder what I want.
It's Najee.
It's me. Come on, Will. Come on.
I actually want you to get Brock, to be fair, mate.
No, I'm getting Drake. It's okay. I can pump him up. I'm not getting Brock. I think I talked too much about Brock during the season, therefore. Right, Drake Jackson. I mean, it's a 2nd round pick. Are you seriously going to consider giving that to Mr. Irrelevant? If Mr. Irrelevant was actually good, he would have been drafted way higher. Drake Jackson was actually really good this year. And something that's really interesting when it comes to our rookie is the fact that we don't really need them to be the best this year. And we want them to be ready to be good in a system the year after and in the future. Aaron Banks, I think, is a very good example of this. We definitely would have not given Aaron Banks any kind of love last year, and the job he's done this season makes up for the last season being taught and being on the bench and learning the game. And I think Drake Jackson was the same, but on top of that, he actually played quite a bit, and he actually played quite a bit and quite well, I think. He batted the pass a really high standard. I think he was the most of our team for sure. I think he led rookies. He might even been quite high in the league. I'll have to dig up the stats. But I'm pretty sure he batted down maybe 4 or 5 passes over the season. And considering his number of snaps, that's pretty good. Would I have liked to see more sacks? yes, but also apart from Bosa, our D-line didn't really get that many sacks. So he's already on par with the likes of Omenio and Armstead and what all the other ones. I can't remember names now. That's what happens. We don't do podcasts for a while and then 2 in a row. Get all frazzled. But yeah, every time he was in, he was impactful. He was very good. He's got a very good ability to chase the run as well, and his length and his long arms really help him catch running back from the back. I think his game is complete, and he showed it this year. And he actually had the number of snaps in the positions that we got a bit thin during the middle of the season, but it's probably the position on our team that is the deepest because that's what we target all the time, and I think he held his own, and the future is definitely bright with him here. I think our D line is going to be even better next year, especially if we can keep everybody. But yeah, what a great play! He's a good player, and I also very much look forward to see what he can do, and maybe help Bosa get to 22.5 and netting himself maybe 10 or 15 sacks next year, and going from strength to strength. But good season by him, and the fact that he was on the field, I think, speaks for itself. So there we go.
Good
Who's
case.
up next? Oh, I didn't remove myself. Let's not do this. It's I think it's Brock. Go on, Brock. Come on, Paul. Hard one, this one to sell.
Brock Purdy, Paul. If you can remember anything that he did, then fire away.
We've got to remember where this journey all started, gentlemen. And I'm not talking about the Miami Dolphins game. I'm talking about Las Vegas and 2 of the UK's finest, El Presidente and Najee Karar. They didn't come home after they announced the Sammy Womack pick. They didn't leave. They waited on that stage. And Lee came back from Vegas and made some rather bold predictions about our very own Mr. Irrelevant. Now, Gareth, this could arguably be a poison chalice, because what can little old me say about the Brock Express? Najee is listening to every word, because I know he was wanting to pump up his boy on tonight's show. But Lee said it better than me when he was putting a case forward for offensive player of the year for Brock. He just changed the energy when he came in. Lee was there in the stands when Jimmy got injured. Neil Watson, we all felt your pain, buddy. But Lee turned to the good chaps in the gold mine and thought, the game is over. Now, whenever I think of Brock Purdy, all I remember is that soundboard Lee put on of the Rocky music, which I know Najee hated. But I love the fact that we christened him Brocky. I mean, we all know non-49ers fans gave us a lot of BS about Brock, and everyone was waiting for him to fail, and it was always, is it the scheme? Is it Shanahan? And every game went past, and Brock passed the test. And we're all sat here now. I've Googled more about Tommy John surgery and UCL injury, and I just hope he comes back. I'm obviously like everyone else. I'm refreshing Twitter, because a fully fit Brock Purdy not only beats the Philadelphia Eagles, but I think he beats the Kansas City Chiefs. And I think Brock Purdy makes us a better team. And when you look at the superstars we've got on offense, Gareth, for a Mr. Irrelevant to come in, and he's now got rid of that tag. He isn't just Mr. Relevant. He is the face of the franchise. I'm going to see more 13 jerseys. My boy is winning this award, because let's face it, the Brock Express is not going to be stopped. Is that all right for you, Najee? Is that good enough, buddy?
Very good. Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Yeah, that's very good. A good case made there for Brock, so I'm sure we'll be pleased to hear that.
It's definitely Drake Jackson, but
He needs all the help he can get. So our final award of the evening, overall team MVP. There was a little bit of a discussion regarding what this should be and how it differs from player, the defensive or offensive player of the year. But we really tried to sum up that guy. What would our season look like if he wasn't there? How different would it be? And you're talking sort of half the number of wins different. So we ended up with 4 candidates that we thought might satisfy that requirement. Nick Bosa, have you got the wheel? Have you got the wheel ready? There we are.
I do. I think I got that right.
Christian McCaffrey. It was Trent Warner and Trent Williams.
Oh, sorry.
But
my bad. See,
it seems you've
this is what
done
happens.
your last minute change there.
Yeah, if that's what we decided.
He's
makes
dying
sense.
to talk
Unfortunately,
about
I know
Brock.
this may be
Sorry,
unpopular,
Andrew.
but Brock Purdy was not included because he didn't play the whole season, which is part of the reason. Fairly arbitrary, but there we go. We had to pick 4, and these are the 4 we've gone with. So, who's picking first?
Oh, sorry. Sorry. So let's go. Is that? Yeah, we're going. All right, cool. Oh,
No, G.
it's me. All right. Fred or CMC? Fred.
Fred Warner. Take it away.
Fred Warner. Hang on, I
MVP.
forgot to remove myself from the wheels. There you go. Fred Warner. So yeah, I think that sums up really well. The league MVP is always like the best player of the league, and it's what Mahomes won, and that's why it's always a QB. But yeah, to me the definition is if that guy goes down with an injury, or if we lose him, if he goes away, what does that team look like? And there's no better than Fred Warner. He's the heart of our defense. Everything goes for him. He's our captain. He calls the play. He sets the tone before the game, during the warm up, and he's, as Lee said earlier, he's everywhere all the time. He leads by example. He's always the guy that makes the tackle. He also can do Superman tackles apparently, because that's the kind of guy he is. He's an All-Pro player for a reason. He's our best defender because of his play, because of the way he plays. Everybody around him has to be a lot better. Otherwise, they would probably get cut because they would look slow and not very good. And that's what it does to a team. It elevates everything. And offenses have to account for him. The same as CMC on the other side for our offense. You have to know where he is all the time, and he can do everything. He can stop the run, he can blitz and sack, he can cover the best of tight ends and the best of wide receivers, as we saw this season. He does everything, and he does it extremely well. If we were to lose him, I think everybody would be devastated. Club 54, I know is not really a thing. It should be. It should really be. I've got one right here, and yeah, is the heart of our team, is the spirit of our team. He embodies what our defense is like and what it's made of, and he's definitely the best linebacker I've ever seen play. And he should be the MVP, because if we do lose him, there would be a big gap in our defense.
For sure, a good case, well made.
Thank you. All right, next up. Ooh, sorry, there it is. I didn't wait for it. Lee, you went twice, 3 times in a row. The second 3 times in a row. What are the odds of that?
I was going to say, what you're trying to say is it a fix? It
is a fix. No, the odds are, could do the maths. It's not that hard. It's 2 out of 6. No, 2 out of 3 times. So 6 out of 9. That's not how it works.
Trent Williams.
Not good at maths. Trent Williams. This is the one we debated on the offense side, and figured we'll stick him in there because of the tag. If he's not there, what happened? Go on. Tell us.
Yeah, so Trent Williams, wow. I mean, he's the highest graded player on PFF ever. That's how good Trent Williams is. The last 3 seasons has been statistically his best seasons ever of his career. In considering how old he is, that speaks volumes about the level of play that he's got, the fact that he's surrounded by other competent players within the offense. When you see Trent Williams run and absolutely smash a defensive player, it's like poetry. It is like poetry. You absolutely love to see it. It reminds me of the Joe Staley tackle on the Alex Smith touchdown against the Saints back in 2011. Trent Williams has these tackles pretty much every single game. When we tried to use him as a running back and run into the end zone last season, that was absolutely fantastic. What Trent Williams gives us is 1, leadership. 2, he gives us a solid left tackle. We know we can run behind, and we know who's going to protect our quarterback. Yes, he gets flagged every now and again for a false start, but so does everybody else. It's dead easy to be twitchy on the line, especially when you've got the type of offense that we've got and you have to get the ball out really quick. When you look at the way the rest of the offensive line have stepped up, the likes of Aaron Banks, I truly believe that is down to Trent Williams. I think that is the Trent Williams effect for Aaron Banks. So to have Trent Williams as our left tackle, and we've said it all season long, what would happen if we didn't have Trent Williams? Would we be the same team? I can guarantee we wouldn't be the same team. We wouldn't be able to do anywhere near the things that we do. And again, another thing I've said is we're a running team. Trent Williams is probably one of the best run-blocking offensive linemen to ever play the game. He is absolutely fantastic. And he is the person that leads our offense. He's the guy that makes the room. He's the guy that turns Shanahan's magic into reality. Trent Williams is the MVP for the 49ers.
Another good case. Well made.
Very good case.
Paul, me and you left.
Right. I think it'll be Paul. Yep.
Tough one to prepare.
I mean, those two guys, already talked about them as well. Oh, look at that.
It's fate.
It is fate. Or fixed.
Paul Hope and Nick Bosa, a match made in heaven.
So I can see where this is going. This does feel like a bit of a fix.
It does, doesn't it?
What? I don't know what you're talking about, Lee. I'm not on charge of the Wheel of Fortune. It is a bit of a strange one. I kind of did want to talk about
the
someone else.
Fix.
We often say on this show that what separates great players is when they step up in big matches. And I think Nick Bosa has become elite. I think if the reigning defensive player of the year, as well as the cases the gents have made, if you take Nick Bosa away from our defense, Najee, I think we'd struggle. I think it's evident. You go watch the game tape, you go watch the film. It's well documented that Nick Bosa is elite. He's going to be elite for years to come. I think if we were stupid enough to let him hit the free agency, the 31 other teams in the league would snap him up in a heartbeat. It's the demeanour he has in the locker room. It's the way he prepares himself throughout the off-season. He turns up ready to go. You've got to remember he's came back off a pretty serious injury and he hasn't missed a heartbeat. I was, like everyone, tuned into training camp last year and just seeing Nick Bosa, the shape that he was in, the work he was putting in. He leads from the front. He leads by example. And I think it's a testament to the locker room that we've got that this award was difficult. I agree with what Lee and Najee have said. And I love our team. I love our defense. But I think Nick Bosa is the undisputed leader of that defense. I think he's going to get better and better. And I love the fact that Warner and Bosa and those players are pushing each other. But all I'll say, Gareth, is Defensive Player of the Year, MVP of the 49ers. And when this poll goes live, I'll have my work cut out. You're going to be seeing the GIF, boys. You're going to be seeing it. I'm going to be tagging you all in it. But yeah, how can you look past Nick Bosa, Gareth? And I'll just leave my argument there, buddy.
Well done. Good argument. I hope you're not going to abuse your position of power, holding the social media tools to influence people unduly towards your picks. Who have I got?
Alex Simpson will make sure I won't be doing that, Gareth.
I think you've got Christian McCaffrey.
Christian McCaffrey for team MVP. A little bit odd, maybe, when we're talking about a guy who arrived mid-season. What was it, week 6? Was it week 7? I think his first game. But as was mentioned earlier, I think on his Offensive Player of the Year nomination, I think he transcends that. And you look at where our team was before he arrived, and then you look at it where it was after he played a couple of games, and the level it stayed at after that. Both quarterbacks, well, we won't know with Brock Purdy, but he certainly seemed to be in some way able to make Jimmy play at a much higher level. whether that's entirely down to McCaffrey or down to the schemes that Shanahan was able to call up because McCaffrey was there and because he offers a threat which is not exactly unique in the game, but he's a player you have to specifically go out and account for as both running back and as a wide receiver. Shanahan seems to have this way of picking up the sort of positionless offense because we know Kittle lines up in the backfield or in the slot or at tight end or at wide receiver. So does McCaffrey, so does Debo, so does Ayuk. And McCaffrey is just, we've been somehow able to get another player of this caliber. You know, no team should have this many players of this quality and this versatility. Most teams would love to have one out of the 4 guys that we've got, and to be able to add McCaffrey to that this season, you just saw we increased the amount of points we're scoring by 50%. We're suddenly comfortable in games in the third quarter, no longer sort of grinding out, holding close in the score with other teams, hoping our defense can make a stop. We're actually just not exactly scoring at will, but scoring when we need to score and scoring consistently. And it's Christian McCaffrey's arrival that just seems to have unlocked that offense. And for that reason alone, I think he should be the MVP this season. And yeah, can't wait to see what it's like with another full season and potentially Shanahan drawing up specific CMC plays that maybe he's had tucked away in the back drawer for a few years and thought, I'm never going to get the players who can pull that off. So rushing touchdown, receiving touchdown, and a passing touchdown in what was it, your second start? So that's it. That's got MVP written through it like a stick of rock. There we are. Is that it? That's the 4 done. That's the 4 players and the 4
That's the
awards.
4 done. Yeah.
Wow, well done, lads. 56 minutes in. Any final mentions? I know you haven't necessarily got to talk about the player, indeed, that you might vote for, and some of the other players who were not nominated may well be up for one of the unsung hero award. So hopefully there'll be a few other names to talk about in a future awards show. But anything you want to say about any of the candidates before we wrap up? Najee?
No, because there is a part 2 that's coming, and so we've got 4 more awards, if I'm not mistaken. So unsung hero, defensive play of the year, offensive play of the year, and
a 4th one that we didn't
missing the last one.
Totally decide on. We talked about coach of the year.
We weren't sure. Coach of the year that. Potentially we will do. Yeah, so we got that we'll coming. Yeah, we'll think about it, see how it fits into that. Yeah, just people we did debate quite a bit about those 4 names. Some of them were shoe-in, obviously. The MVP one was quite a long discussions choosing who to put in there. If you're not happy about it, again, please let us know. We're happy to be taught in a comment on YouTube, in a comment on Podbeam, on the Facebook post or the poll when that comes up. Tell us why you think we're wrong, and we'll happily tell you that no, you're wrong, and then the discussion won't go anywhere, and that'll be great because that's what the internet's for. Joking. No, it's just we're doing this for fun. This is to wrap up the season and to try and remember the good times, and this one was a good one. So yeah, it'll be fun to see who wins the award ultimately. We made our cases and made the best win.
I think unlike some of the last few seasons, there always seems to have been a real standout candidate, I think, for most of the awards. Whereas perhaps other than rookie, I don't know that there's really a player who stood out like they have before. Like last year, it was Debo for Offensive Player of the Year. There kind of really wasn't much real discussion about it. Maybe you could have said Elijah Mitchell, perhaps, or maybe somebody else, but. It's been wide open this year, and that's I
agree.
An indication of the quality of players that we've got.
Yeah, I agree. Lee, Jordan Mason had an amazing season. So,
I was just going to say, Lee, when we did this show last year, I had my notebook, Gareth, and you're right, it was Debo. And when I've been doing some prep for this one, it was like, oh, there isn't just one player. Now, for the interest of fairness. To answer your earlier question, Gareth, I will not abuse my position as social media manager. However, next episode of the 49er Faithful UK live show, Nick may not get to speak because I may get an hour of pushing my candidates. I'm only joking. I look forward to this show, this one.
Yeah,
I mean, our little podcast has grown from strength to strength, and we always say that this is the most downloaded episode of the awards show. And I must admit, I like the way that we've changed it up tonight, and we've all admitted there wasn't much prep done. We didn't want to bore you all with the stats. We've spoke from the heart. We've spoke about these players that we've watched all year, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what the UK faithful say and what the polls do. So how long are we giving everybody to vote, Gareth? Just so I know for the polls that we put out.
I guess it will depend. Yeah, when the podcast is released, certainly perhaps give people a few days, certainly, maybe a full week. I suppose it will depend when we record the next podcast. So a week sounds good.
Or until the end of the season. That's 2 weeks. That's 3 weeks, actually. That's quite a lot.
I guess I'm being a little bit harsh. I was going to say just give them 2 days.
Oh, no, that's too harsh. Some people aren't online that often. We're not. No, at least a week is good, I think. And let the poll run. You can only vote once anyway, so it doesn't really matter, does it?
We'll let it run for a week, I should think, and hopefully, as one poll ends, another one should be open. So,
yeah, exactly.
Or because if you do it that way, then that's going to take at least 4 weeks.
I'll just put them all up at once. And then
put them all up at once. Yeah.
Excellent.
No, as in the next show. So put all 4 up now, and then the next 4 after the next show.
And then the next.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No, I wasn't going to milk it.
We're not winging it. We're not winging it at all, people. We're all prepared. This is a professional podcast. Brilliant.
To be fair, Gareth, I was already getting a CMC jersey, but you've convinced me he's definitely, and I must admit, but that's a given for me. He's just been awesome since we've signed him. I just want to know if he's staying 23 or not before I press the button on the trigger.
I don't want to. I think my Brock jersey is in the country.
I think he might have to, unless he wants to buy out all of the other 23
No, you can change at the end of the season,
which there will probably be a lot. So unless
you can change. You'll be able to change next season. There's a period where they can change. It doesn't cost them anything, I think. It's after a certain point you have to do it. But we'll see.
So
El Presidente has been very quiet.
He's on mute.
El Presidente is glued to Twitter to see what's happening. Nothing at the moment, to be fair.
We should mention that there was some news about Brock's surgery. Obviously, I'm sure everybody knows, but
a little bit.
It's been delayed, postponed because of inflammation, which probably happened because he had to play, I would imagine, and had to try and, instead of resting it, try and go for it. You remember, I think we all remember him on the sideline throwing a couple of balls. Probably shouldn't do that when your UCL is completely torn. It's a bit of a shame. It just pushes the date of his return and whatever the surgery is going to require exactly, because we won't know until you open
up a window for Trey Lance.
Absolutely. I mean, it's only pushing it a couple of weeks, I would imagine. I don't think his timeline is that skewed now, but it's good to know. We're obviously all keeping an eye on it and crossing fingers and all that stuff for him. But I think that's the only bits of news we got this week.
I think so.
Yeah, pretty much.
Apart from all the coaches, not really coaches, but sub-level people going with Demeco. We lost a few. We lost the boombox guy. That's big news. That's big news.
There's an opening there for you, Nadji.
Oh, yeah, I'll do it. Don't really like the music, but I don't care. Yeah.
Great stuff. Thank you, gentlemen. A good show and some good cases made there. Can't wait to see how the faithful vote. I think they have surprised us in previous years where votes have gone a different way than the podcast panel. It just shows, what do we know? But there we go. Yeah, it's almost like we make it up as we go along. So thanks for joining me, gents, and thanks to everyone who listens and indeed watches the show. Don't forget you can like and subscribe and comment and share and things of that nature. We will be back with the second half of the awards show soon, and look out for Facebook and Twitter, where the award polls will be being posted soon after the release of the podcast. So hopefully, if it works, people will listen to the podcast first and then make your vote. But obviously, if you want to just go ahead and vote, you can.
That's a given. You have to listen to the case, otherwise, how are you going to know?
Well, exactly. Right? How are you going to decide?
How are you going to decide if you don't know what the experts think? Experts.
Great stuff. So yeah, hopefully we'll be back next week with the awards, and if there's any more news, we will wrap that up as well. And then we've got still a fairly packed program because it'll be free agency. We'll be honest, within a couple of weeks. Obviously, a lot of players under contract with the 49ers might well be heading towards pastures new, but also a lot of teams need to get under the salary cap, so there could be players released surprisingly, and we'll have a chat perhaps about who we think we should nab if we can afford them. But there we are. So look out for that. Don't forget to vote, and go Niners.
Go Niners.
Saccaroni, baby.
Bang, bang, Niner gang.
We love the San Francisco 49ers deep in the heart. Like Joe Montana in the corner, D. Clark. Garrison Hurst, stiff farm going 99. Don't get it twisted, one and all with prime time. John Taylor, Jerry Rice down the